Okay, so today we are going to talk a little bit more about tinctures. I got a couple of questions about them, and I realized some people aren't familiar with them at all. So I'm going to be discussing a little bit of the basics and how a good 6 of them to get started with. So tinctures, what that is when you take a high proof alcohol, like 80%, or I'm sorry, 80 proof alcohol. I like to try using vodka because it's not flavored or has any off flavors or anything like that. Um, and then you combine that with an herb. That could be the leafy portion of it, it could be the flowers, it could be the roots, it could be bark, whatever the type of medicinal plant that it is. You soak that in the alcohol. The alcohol draws out the medicinal components of that plant. And then after it sits for a while, then you strain that off. So you just have the liquid. The liquid then is medicine. That's actually that's what everyone used as medicine before pharmaceutical companies came in and started industrializing everything and creating these medicines in labs. Actually, willow bark is what traditionally they would use instead of, or for a anti-inflammatory or for pain management, and that's what they actually made aspirin from originally until they could synthesize the active ingredient in it in a lab. So I hope that explains the basics of what that is. So to take these medicines, I'll just show you on this one. I like to put them, I reuse some of my old bottles, that's why there's still labels from the old ones in them, but you put it in a glass bottle with a dropper in it, and you only take a few drops depending on what it is and the person you're giving it to. So you can either put it directly under the tongue, or you can put it in a glass of water. It doesn't matter how you do it. It is alcohol though, so I don't like the taste of it. A lot of times I'll just put it in a glass of water because I can't stand the taste of it. But Nick, he'll just get it over with and put it right under his tongue. It is medicine. So okay, so I wanted to go through what I feel like are the basics, like 6 basic ones that would be good ones to start with. So I'm going to start at this end. What's this one? This is oregano. So I did the oregano and the thyme tinctures on the last video I did about tinctures. So this is the one that I started. You can see the herb in there, and the vodka is covering it. So in about 6 weeks, that's a good amount for this to sit to draw the medicinal components out of it. After 6 weeks, I will strain this off until it's just liquid. So it looks like this, and it's in a dropper bottle then. So I also have thyme. That's the other one we did. Again, here's it soaking, and here's just the liquid portion of it. I also have rosehip tincture right here, and then I have some sitting, and then this one actually is multiflora rosehips, which is, it's a wild rose. So the nice thing about whenever you have a wild plant, usually the medicinal components in that plant are stronger than in the cultivated variety. And we have multiflora growing everywhere on our property, so rather than, I'm not a big flower person. I don't like to grow flowers just for flowers. I don't like maintaining them, so I'd rather not grow roses just for the rose hips, but since we have the wild roses growing, that's perfect. I also have willow bark on here. This used to be a different bottle, but I cleaned it out. So willow bark, this is turmeric root, and this is black elderberry. So I'm going to give you basics on what you use each one for. So the oregano tincture is for bacterial infections. So your coughs, your colds, that kind of stuff. A lot of times, if I'm not sure what the illness is, I will use the thyme and the oregano together. Thyme is for viral infections. You can use these together. That's not a problem. If you don't have a viral infection, but you take it, it's not going to hurt you. they're that mild. So thyme is for viral, oregano is for bacterial infections. So coughs, colds, flus, sicknesses, that kind of stuff. The rose hip tincture is extremely high in minerals, especially vitamin C. Whenever you have some kind of illness where you need extra vitamin C for your boosting your immune system, that's what you use that for. Willow bark tincture. That one you use instead of using aspirin or ibuprofen. So basically, if you are having inflammation from like, hit your knee or something and your knee is swelling up, or you have pain, that is what willow bark is for. So you just would use it instead of taking ibuprofen. So turmeric tincture. This is a strong anti-inflammatory. So if you ever have some kind of condition where you're inflamed, that would be the one to use. So I use turmeric a lot for liver issues. If you are having a liver that's not functioning correctly, that's inflamed, I'll actually start with that. Most chronic diseases, they have a lot to do with being chronically inflamed. I will use turmeric a lot for any kind of chronic inflammation like that. Then the black elderberry. This one is also a really good immune booster. So if you have kids and everyone at school is starting to get sick, but your kids aren't sick yet, it's a good idea to start with that just to get their immune system boosted so that they either don't get sick or their sickness is a lot more mild. Once you are already sick, you can take more of it to just help your body's immune system be boosted. Okay, so those are the basic 6. These are the ones I use all the time. I use them for a vast variety of things. To know how much to do. So if you have a little kid, you want to start very low, so only like 1 drop. If you're doing an adult, you can do a lot more. I would start with 2 drops, but
that's once a day.
Yes. So if they're really sick though, I would go to twice a day. There are a ton of books out there that can actually give you prescriptions on how to exactly use them. I've been using them long enough. I know exactly what to do for us, but each person's a little bit different. This is not something though, these ones, unless you're drinking an entire bottle of it, you don't really have to worry about overdosing on them. And even an overdose on it, it's going to give you probably like, a stomach ache or something. It's not going to cause a huge problem. Again, only in small moderation. Now, if you were to drink this entire bottle of this, you would probably throw up because your body cannot handle that much medicine at once. But yeah, most of these are pretty mild. So you can't really screw it up unless, like I said, unless you're drinking extremely large amounts of them. But yeah, it just start slow, get a really good book on it, maybe try one at a time, get comfortable with that one. And as you go, maybe add a couple more, but these are the 6 that I would recommend to start with. If I had to choose just 2 to start with, I would probably choose the oregano and thyme just because they're really good for infections, especially during flu and cold season. From there, I would probably go with the willow bark and the elderberry, just because those are the ones I tend to use those a lot. And then I would go to the rose hips and the turmeric. If you guys have any questions, if you feel like I'm not explaining certain things well enough, just let me know. Yeah, and I will eventually have on here a couple of really good tincture books that I recommend that I'll have on here for you guys.